This is the first show of our new season, and the group is here together, and we're going to bring you a couple of things tonight on this show. We have an interview with Chuck Colson, and also we have some music by Ground Crew, and also we're going to show you some upcoming things you might be seeing on our shows. And now let's take it away with Ground Crew's single, Creeping In.
That was a video by Ground Crew. We'll have a couple more tunes for them later. But now to more serious points. This is a book by Charles Colson. Here's a little picture on the back. And he's being interviewed by our executive producer, Ron Prigge.
We're here with Mr. Charles Colson, who is the director, is that the right title now? Director of Prison...
Chairman of Prison Fellowship, right.
Prison Fellowship. And Mr. Colson, I'm sure many of you have heard of because of having a high-ranking position in the Nixon presidential administration. And he is into a lot of things now. I know you are writing articles, and you're talking to people a lot about the society and how individuals meet that society today. What is the topic that you spoke on, or are speaking on, at this conference?
Well, the relationship between the Christian, how you live as a Christian in relationship to the state, and how to fulfill what Christ commands of our lives living in American society today.
So
it's
is it a
big
little,
question.
Absolutely. It touches a little bit on that politics and religion question, I suppose, that a lot of people... did you find when you were in government yourself that there were a lot of people who could express their religious principles or their faith principles?
Oh, sure. I mean, we live in the freest nation in the world. We used to have church religious services in the White House when I worked for President Nixon. But there's a great danger today, I think, that we will confuse the role of the church and the state. And there's a tendency to sometimes mix our Christian faith with a particular political point of view, and must never do that, because the gospel of Jesus Christ is transcendent.
Do you
That
think
is the
that
most
some
important
people
thing in life.
Do you think that some people intentionally abuse that?
Sure, politicians will always use religious people for advantage. I tried to do that when I was in the White House, to get religious people to come in and you show them all the beautiful things about the White House and bring them into the Oval Office, and in a sense you are using them politically. And so I've always warned Christians, regardless of what your politics are, just be very careful to keep your independence as a Christian. And that would apply to people watching us. Keep your independence as a Christian. Don't let your Christian view ever become subordinate to your interest in your job or your political point of view or anything else. Your commitment to Christ has to come first.
Did your commitment to Christ come young enough in your life that you can relate a Christian feeling to teenagers and to young people?
Well, no, except I've got children and grandchildren that I can relate to. I was converted right to Christ immediately after I left the White House, about a year before I went to prison. I left the White House having done everything in my life that I ever set out to do. Sort of the American dream fulfilled. The young people watching this on television probably think that when you get a very good job, when you have a position of influence and power, when you're making money, that your life is fulfilled. It isn't true. I worked my way up from a poor kid in the Depression years, grandson of an immigrant to this country. No one in my family had ever gone to college. I earned a scholarship to college. I earned a scholarship through law school. I earned a doctorate of law at night. I was the youngest company officer in the United States Marines at one time, youngest administrative assistant in the United States Senate, and then at age 39 I was at the right hand of the President of the United States, making all the decisions that you make in the President's office. But I discovered those things were empty. I was not fulfilled, and when I left the White House, I had this gnawing emptiness inside for many months, and I really didn't know what it was until I met a friend who he had accepted Christ in the 4 years that I had not seen him while I was in the White House. And he was so changed, I asked him what had happened to him, and he said, I've accepted Jesus Christ and committed my life to him. I almost fell off the chair. I'd never heard anyone talk that way. But I discovered that same experience some months later in my own life, and came to Christ, came to know Christ, and to believe in him. And that turned my life upside down. And I found the fulfillment in life not through the things of this world, but through a personal relationship with God.
Do you still keep in contact with some of those people who
Oh,
were
sure.
with you?
I see a lot of them. I used to see Mr. Nixon when I'm in New York, and we visited frequently, and most of the people that were in the Watergate, I'm sure young people watching this on television would just remember those names out of history books now, but Ehrlichman, Haldeman, Mitchell, I've seen most everyone that was involved in it.
Are you able to talk to them about your faith?
Sure, and many of them have read the book, and some have become Christians as a result of my own experiences. My book, Born Again, which told about my conversion to Christ, yeah.
And what do you think is society's main problem in interfacing between morality and everyday societal life today?
Well, it's a terrible tension today because everything in our life today militates against it. First of all, we are taught that success is all that matters. We are in a culture which is very materialistic. We are in the media, by and large, does not present Christian values. We see much in the way of a permissive lifestyle. We're told that we really can do anything we want and feel good about it. But the trouble is that leads us to a certain death. That leads us to bankruptcy. The more of those things you have, I remember doing a television show some years ago with a young man, and he was an enormously successful entertainer. And when the show was over, he came off the show. We both were interviewed. I told about my conversion to Christ. And when the show was over, he came over and he said, that's amazing. You really believe in Jesus, don't you? I said, you bet I do. I know him. He said, wow, I've got everything. I've got money, sports cars, girlfriends, everything. But I don't have what you do. And he walked away, and I saw him get in his limousine and drive off. Everybody was cheering and pulling at him for his autograph. And then a few months later, I picked up a newspaper and read that Freddie Prinze had blown his brains out. So you can have everything in this world, and you can try it all. Drugs, sex, all the things that you think are fun. Money and power, but if you don't fill the hole inside of you, that's a right relationship with God, your life is empty and bankrupt. And the difficulty people have today is knowing that central truth. And maybe we know it upstairs in our heads, but we don't carry it out in life, and everything around us. There are people trying to tempt us. There are people trying to get us to go in the locker room and smoke a joint. There are people that are trying to tell us that all we need is a sports car. All we need are these good things in life. But it isn't true. Those things are all fine. Sports cars and money and all that are fine, but only if you've got your right relationship with God are they going to have any meaning in your life.
Can we go just one step further, perhaps, for a moment? Now, if a person has that relationship with Christ, and if he is perhaps in a position that you were, just about at the top of your field, 39, early 40s, what should he see as his position? Why is he still staying around after he's got Christ in his life?
Oh, because that's only the beginning. I mean, we don't just accept Christ for what he can do for us in gratitude for him, to him, for what he has done in our lives. We then have to serve him. When I got out of prison after the Watergate, I wanted to go back and be a lawyer or go to business, live a private life. I couldn't because God was calling me to serve. And now some people are called in the full-time service, but and as I was. Not everybody is, but everybody is called to do something for Christ in their lives, to make a difference, to be a witness, to be a changed person, to let people see that Christ is Lord of your life, to get involved in things. The only thing I would say to young people who might be watching this is get yourself into a fellowship of other Christians who can help you, because it's really tough to walk the Christian walk by yourself. You need somebody with you. Get into a good church where the Bible is being preached and study that Bible and get some good people around you and make up your mind that you're not just going to be a Christian because God's going to do something for you, but you're going to be a Christian because he is the Christ who rose from the dead, who lives today, and you're going to do something with your life to make a difference for him out of gratitude for what he did, dying on the cross for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm glad we had a chance to talk.
So am I. Good to see you.